Welcome to the first tutorial in the detailed HTML tutorials for beginners. Hi, my name is Muhammad, and I help those who are venturing into financial freedom make their first step. The world now is almost entirely dependent on the internet, and to learn or improve on your IT skills will definitely help you stand out. In this tutorial today, we're going to learn how to set up HTML and execute your first HTML web page. And all you're going to need is either a notepad if you're using a PC or a text edit if you're using a MacBook. The reason why I don't like to use a code editor when learning how to code and rather use a notepad or a text edit is because it allows you to do everything on your own. Usually with a code editor, it might fill in the gap for you or give you suggestions. We don't want that. We want to learn how to do it on our own in the beginning, and then when we get the hang of it, then we can use a code editor, and giving you suggestions will only help you execute work faster once you know the concept already. So it's always better to start using a notepad or a text editor so you can build your skills faster and have a concrete background on what you're doing. So if you are on a PC and you're going to use a notepad, all you need to do is just open the notepad window and wait for the tutorial to begin. And if you're using a text edit, you just need to make these few changes to your text edit, and I'll show you how to do that right now, and then we can get started with the tutorial. So if you're on your Mac and you go to the text edit and create a new document, so what you want to do is go over to hover over text edit and go to preferences, and in preferences on the open and save tab you want to say display HTML files as HTML code instead of formatted text. And then if you go over to the new document, you want to say plain text. So use format, choose settings for an open document. You want to say plain text. Okay, so once we're in the notepad or text edit, we're going to start building the HTML setup. And basically what an HTML document is and why is it important in your code is because HTML is what tells the browser what to do with the information you input. So it's a markup language where it puts your input in what is called an element, and it defines what it's supposed to do with that information to the browser. And we're gonna learn all about that later on in these tutorials. But so the first thing we want to define in an HTML setup is that we want to tell the browser that this is an HTML document. So the first thing is at the top here, we're gonna open up a bracket and say exclamation mark doc type. So document type, and we're gonna say it's HTML, close the bracket, and then we're gonna go down, and now we're gonna start the HTML document by opening a bracket again and putting in HTML, and then opening another one and putting a slash and then HTML. And basically everything in between these two tags is the HTML document. And you have two parts to this HTML document, which is the first one is the head, and close the head, and then the second one is the body. So basically this is the setup for HTML. It's that simple, that easy, and that's all you have to do. And basically everything that you see on each website goes in the body part here. So whatever you see on every website that you visit is within these two body tags. What goes in the head here is links to the design that you use, which is CSS, or if you're using JavaScript, you can link to it in the head. It's basically information that can help the browser understand or help the browser implement more to the information you put in the body tags to help function your web page better. And we're going to learn more about what goes in the head later on, but this is the basic setup for an HTML. And now we're going to execute our first HTML website. So we're going to go between the body tags, and what we're going to do is enter in some information. So we're going to use an H1 tag. And why we're going to use an H1 tag is because it's an header. So basically it's going to tell the browser that this is a header. And H1 stands for the first level header. So it's going to be defined with certain settings that will make it the top header. And what we're going to say here is, like every time, we're going to say hello world, exclamation mark, and we can add a paragraph. Basically, a paragraph is not a heading. It will have different settings, and we're going to see this shortly. So what you can add any information. You can say my name is Muhammad, and this is my first web page. Alright, that's it for HTML setup, and we're going to execute our website now. So what we want to do now is save the document. You can save it to your desktop or anywhere you want to save it, and the important thing to do in the name is you can call it whatever. My first website, HTML web page, and what you want to do is say .html and then save it. And then you want to come down here and make sure it's just HTML. So you want to make sure it's just HTML. Okay. Once it saves as an .html document, all you have to do is double click, and then there you go. You just executed your first HTML web page. If you're only watching and following along, I would highly recommend that you execute your first web page and get used to this HTML setup. So homework for you tonight is to go back and write out this HTML setup and see if you can get it without looking at the video or any resource online, because this is what you're going to be using in all your coding projects to come. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for new tutorials to come. So long.